Page 24, he'll have to go. On page 24, there's a few things to talk about. I'm going to start with the right hand. Now, in my book, this music on this piece is printed very small. Now, I'm having trouble reading it sometimes. I don't know why they printed it so small. At the top of page 24, they're talking about the scale of C and passing notes and all that stuff. A passing note is simple. It's just a note in between two other notes, and you're passing from one note to the other. It just kind of connects them. So if I want to go from a C to an E, I can get there by playing the note in between. Then that D is a passing note. That's really all it is. It's just a note that gets you from one note to another. It passes by. It's like at the beginning. They have a D and they have an E in the next measure. They want to go from the D to the E. They don't want to go directly. They stick the D sharp in. That's just a passing note is all it is. If you're going to improvise, you've got to know about passing notes. You're going to use them all the time. Just stick them in, experiment, have fun with them. Stick in a passing note here and there. If I want to go from here to here, I can stick a passing note in there, and which note? It's up to you. You decide which note you want to. You can have more than one. I'm not going to get into it, but experiment, have fun. If it sounds okay, close enough. So that's what passing notes are all about. In the right hand, let's talk a little bit about fingering. I'm just going to point out a few of the tricky fingerings here. Just make sure you've got them. On page 24, there's only one line, but take a look at the third measure from the end. It's got the F, it's the fourth finger on the first F, third finger on the next one. Just so you're aware of it. At the top of page 25, the last two measures, you have a thumb playing the D, the dotted half note D. Then the thumb is also going to play the C. Well, you got an eighth rest, so it's okay, you can get down there. I think I would play those two C eighth notes with a 2-1, but you can use thumb on both if you want. This is not a fast piece. If it were, I'd say you definitely use 2-1, but it's a slow piece, so you can do that. Then on the second line, first measure, this is page 25. It's an E on the first one, and then a 2 on the D sharp, and then a 1 on the E. Otherwise, just do everything they're telling you to do in the right hand. There's nothing tricky other than those few spots, I think. In the left hand, at the top of page 25, last two measures, left hand, it's a 3 on the A, 2 on the A sharp, and then a 5-1. It's fine. It sounds weird, but that's what's written, so there we go. Second line, first measure is a 3 on the G. On the next measure, it's a 2 on the B flat. But again, there's a quarter rest between them. All right? You're not connected. And then a 1 on the A. Rhythm-wise, count it out carefully. We're in 3/4 times, so you're only going to count to 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. As long as you do that, you should be okay. For instance, look at the first line on page 25. It's this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Get it? Now, the G there at the first measure, top page 25, it's quarter note. You only hold it down for one beat. So when I play that left hand half note, I let that beat up. 1 and 2. So that, but on the half of that beat, I got to play those eighth notes. And I'm going to hold that left hand down. So it's 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and. So you got to work out how long you're holding each hand down. It can get tricky on when to let up and whatever. But you'll get it eventually. I'm sure you will if you just don't give up. Wouldn't hurt to play it with me one hand at a time to make sure you're getting the notes in each hand the correct length. Okay, because you can concentrate on it better if you're only concentrating on one hand. Notice the difference in the rhythm between the first two lines on page 25. Just take the first couple of measures. In the top line, you have, in the right hand, you have a quarter note, an eighth rest, and then 3/8 notes. So you're quiet for half a beat. Well, in the second line, instead of an eighth rest, they give you an eighth note and it's tied. So now you're going to hold it down all the time. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and 3 and 1. Okay, so those are different. So make sure you're following exactly what the music is telling you to do. Road map. Well, look at the end of this. You got another DS L Fine. Well, the DS is, go back to the sign, go to the Fine, right? The sign is over there on page 24. You see it, that squiggly thing. The Fine is the last measure of the third line on page 25. And once again, they're screwing up. They should have a thin and a thick bar line there at Fine, and they haven't done it. You have a pickup beat, so you should have a 2-beat measure someplace. So that bar line, double bar line, should have been there, and but maybe they haven't taught you all that junk yet, so they're fudging until they do. I don't know. I haven't looked at book 3 to see what's coming. Of course, if you're watching this years after I posted, I probably already put up book 3. So let's try this out and see what happens. It does have that pickup beat. I'm going to give us 2 counts, and then we'll play it together. So your hands, here to start. Right. And here. Okay. 2 counts. Yep. Ready and go. And. Rest. 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 Rest.